just want to ask a poll. So how are you feeling today?
Good.
All right, that's nice. We have a lot of smiley faces. All right. So to give an overview of how this webinar is going to go, we want it to be some sort of like alternating discussion between the two panels we have here, as well as the guests that joined us. So feel free to unmute or type your questions to the chat to me or Eesha. I'm Sneha, by the way, so just remember you can join in at any time.
Members of the defense team.
Sorry, was that was someone talking?
I think someone accidentally kept their audio on. You can keep going.
Okay. So before we get started, I wanted to give a quick overview of our company, Stickers Speak. So basically, we're a team of 4, and we started as part of the Junior Achievement Entrepreneurship Program. And dedicated to our social cause as part of the program, we decided to continue on our own. And we're trying to share like more information about mental health with other teens and parents, hence the webinars. And Stickers Speak is a local student-run company, and we're aiming to decrease the mental health stigma around mental health and raise education and awareness. So we create uniquely designed stickers with QR codes in the middle that lead to our website when they're scanned. And on our website, we have lots of amazing mental health resources that you can access at any time. And on the slide over there are our social media and our website. So go there, follow us, and just take some time to look at those resources. We're also giving away a huge self-care kit filled with everything you need to take care of yourself. And all you have to do is follow us on Instagram or Facebook, like our giveaway post, and tag a friend. So remember to do that. And for this webinar series, we've partnered with the Gift of Learning. So the Gift of Learning, would you like to introduce yourself now?
Yeah, hi, my name is Shivi, and I am one of the founders of the Gift of Learning. There are other founders, Eesha, Amrita, Arya, and our manager, Shivshika. We also have an amazing team of ambassadors, and all of them do amazing work for our organization. Basically, what our organization is a free tutoring service, and we provide free tutoring to any child from 1st grade to 10th grade, and our service is worldwide because it's all online. We also provide free college resources, so if any of you are sophomores, juniors, seniors, and even in college, we provide career advice as well. So if you guys are looking into that, go check out our social medias, and you guys can email us if you guys have any questions as well.
Right, and the Gift of Learning has an amazing cause, just helping so many people, and that's one of the reasons we joined with them. And on a side note, my 3 teammates will be the student panelists for their webinar, and I'll let them introduce themselves.
Hi, my name is Asta. I'm also part of Stickers Speak, and I'm really excited to talk today on the panel and discuss a little bit more about the mental health stigma. Ria, if you want to introduce yourself.
Hi, I'm Ria Sethi. I'm also part of Stickers Speak. I'm a sophomore at Robinson, and I'm super excited to get into this discussion with all of you today. I'll pass it on to Amin.
Hi guys, my name is Amin Bouzid. I'm also one of the founders of Stickers Speak, and I'm a senior at Falls Church High School.
All right, thanks guys. And as for our parent panelists, we're very excited to have members of MOMNetwork speak here today. So Shelly McKenney, the founder and CEO of MOMNetwork, was our gracious lead mentor during the Junior Achievement Program, and her company was also our host site. So that's pretty cool. And along with her are 3 other amazing moms that will help bring the parent perspective to this webinar. So Shelly, if you want to talk more about MOMNetwork, it's all yours.
Thank you. I want to say I'm a humble and honored mentor. It's so nice to see you all and all the things that you guys have done with Stickers Speak. That it's just warming my heart. But Network is a community of moms, and our goal is to empower, engage, and establish programs and initiatives for moms and their families. And we love, one of the things that we love doing is doing things like this to make sure that we both do things for our moms, but also their children, because as moms, our number one priority is our children. So I'm excited to be on this platform. And today I brought with me other moms, two of them which are Mom Network members, but one of them is one of my sorority sisters. So I would like to introduce or have Tamika, please introduce yourself, my soror.
Thank you, Shelley. Hi, everyone. It's a pleasure for me to be here. Thank you for allowing me to share space with you guys. My name is Tamika Bullock. I am a licensed psychotherapist in the state of New Jersey, also certified forensic mental health evaluator, certified divorce mediator, and I also specialize in trauma-focused therapy through EMDR, which stands for eye movement desensitization and reprocessing. So I kind of run the gamut therapeutically. I do have a private practice where I see clients in the office as well as virtually. And with certain clients who are considered intense, I may see them in the community as well. Thank you for inviting me.
Thank you for joining us today.
We have two Mom Network members. We have Amina.
Hello, everyone. My name is Amina, and I am a behavioral therapist at Inova Hospital. I run the IOP, which is intensive outpatient program at Inova Health for teenagers ages 13 to 18. I am so honored to be here and to share my knowledge with you guys, and just want to say thank you.
The pleasure is ours.
And then we have Amira. Amira, do you want to introduce yourself?
Hey guys, how are you? I do this all day, just sit in front of the computer and just talk to black screens. But yeah, I teach high school. I teach chemistry and forensics. And I'm very honored to be here. Thank you so much, Shelley, for inviting me. And I feel I'll learn a lot more than give. So thank you.
Thanks, Amira. And so that was everyone. So our first discussion question for today is going to be a poll. So have you had conversations with your parents or your teens about mental health? And you can just answer yes or no. All right, so most of us have voted, and it's about 9-3 of yes to no. So parents, do you have anything to add on to like any conversations you've had into your homes, or really what's like the mental health environment inside your homes?
I would start by saying putting a name to a feeling, you know, like disappointed, sad, angry, upset. This would, I think, I try to have my kids like vocalize how they're feeling. I'm not saying that I totally like succeeded, but it's a work in progress.
Sometimes like we just say we're fine, but then, because that's like the conventional answer to respond to, but people can be feeling a lot of different ways, especially students. So does anybody have anything else to add, or we can go to the teenagers now? All right, so Asta, would you like to answer really how you talk about mental health in your home, or like the lack of mental health conversations?
Yeah, so actually starting Stickers Speak, a mental health company, I was really surprised because when we were choosing a social cause, you know, all the students were like, let's talk about mental health. And I was really surprised. I was like, is this really, you know, an issue that we should talk about? It's like so super uncomfortable. You know, it just felt very foreign to me. And I think you know, I grew up in a generational household, and obviously, you know, we talk about feelings, we check in on each other, but I don't think we've had a direct conversation about mental health. And so going through Stickers Speak and learning all these things, I really just learned a lot about, what it means to talk about your emotions, feelings, and mental health at the dinner table. And I think it's really helped transform the conversations at my house too, just to be even more considerate of certain, stories that you'll hear in the news or other things, and try to understand really where people are coming from. So I think the conversations may have not been there specifically about mental health growing up, but just going into it, now I think we definitely have moved past that and just learned a lot just as a family as well.
Right, I've seen that in my household too. It's very open because of the company, and now you know what's going on with mental health. Does anybody have anything else to add on to that?
Yeah, my situation was actually very similar to Asta. So I didn't know how important mental health was growing up. I didn't hear about mental health as a very big issue until middle school, when all of us started getting, big tests, things to prepare for, and we were all feeling stress, and we didn't really know what to do with it. And so I think what I've learned through working with Sticker Speak is that we need to prioritize our mental health more. And I think we need to learn more about it in school like we do with physical health. So yeah, I saw you raise your hand. You can go ahead.
Well, in some ways, my story is similar to my other team members. Starting a mental health company is sort of inevitable to talk about mental health, right? But before that, I personally have seen the consequences of people who don't take care of their mental health. And in schools, so I was always aware of how serious it is. But in my house, we're four people. And both my parents are immigrants, and we're all pretty good at keeping our feelings inside, right? That's something that we always saw as natural. Like I joined this wrestling and martial arts to sort of vent out, or do many, many certain things. That's what teens do, right? We try to distract ourselves. Either it's on our phone, or it's doing activities, or going out with friends, or just completely taking ourselves away from a situation. But yeah, that was my situation. Now my family is a little more open. I've talked to my family about, hey, I'm feeling a little bit sad, or and this is why. And we can start having a conversation of why I feel sad, why I feel angry or frustrated about a situation. So things like that.
Mm-hmm. I understand. And do the parents have any other views on this?
I think, it's interesting, as the advisor to you all last year, mentor, I think I would have to say the same thing. We didn't, in my family, we didn't talk about mental health. I really didn't see it to the point until after we did the product, right? Until we did the sticker, and we learned so much. One of the things that I think I learned most from being a part of Sticker Speak was that we can't fix things for people, right? That it's not up to us to try, if someone gives us have a problem, we can't necessarily fix it. We need to send them or have them speak to someone who can. And that was the most important thing, is that as moms, I think we always feel that we can fix things, right? But we can't always fix things. There's a professional that should be responsible for doing that. And I've learned through working with you all, and also speaking with Amina and her analogy about something being broken. Like if you break your arm, you can't personally fix it. You have to you have to go to the hospital. And mental health is just like that. It's an illness. So I think that was definitely one of my aha moments with being a part of Sticker Speak.
Right. And as a mother, do you ever like know when your child is struggling with their mental health? Like, are there any signs or cues that you can see?
I know for me, the signs, I pick up on them very easily because I work in this field. So I'm very keen on the signs. When COVID started, and I have four boys, and they're all in the house, and you start to see just, you know, arguments, or you might start to see people getting more irritated or agitated with each other. I did see that between my boys, or they would just pick at each other for no reason, no apparent reason at all. Um, Another sign is isolation. So, you know, I have four boys, but they're all so different. So I definitely, you could see if one was isolating more than others, you know, would make excuses for not participating like in family functions, or, you know, say they're really tired, didn't want to eat at the table or eat without us. So isolation is a really big sign to see as well if someone is struggling with mental health. Um, and because again, I have four boys, and I really have to sit down and talk with each one of them differently, because they have different personalities, and I have to approach certain things differently, so that I can get the best reaction. And then too, because I have a 12-year-old, the same conversation I'm not having with my 20-year-old, right? So that mental health conversation looks totally different between my 12-year-old and my 20-year-old. So it's really important to see like developmental, like where your teens are, and then how to approach them with mental health.
I think for me, I agree with Amina. You can see differences in your children as you spend more time, especially with the quarantine together. For me, I'm very in tune with my children and any kind of emotional health or mental health struggles they may have. I have one child that has ADHD, my youngest. And so therefore I have to, you know, deal with him a little bit different than the others. And that sometimes causes an issue, but we're able to talk it through. One thing that's important for me is, as busy as I am, is giving each one of them their own private time. Even my 27-year-old, he's back home with me now. So we do things like, you know, I have to model certain things for them. Self-care is important. So exercise is hugely important in our house. Going to take care of ourselves through, if we need a massage, then doing that. If we need time to just read, I meditate with my kids, and we actually sit, if we're having one-on-one time and we're meditating together, we actually sit with our backs touching each other so we can breathe and feel each other. Those type of things keep us connected, so that if we're doing these things ongoing, number one, hopefully if they're taking care of themselves and always, you know, having a release is very important. We can't keep things bottled in. If they're always having a release, then that's important. But the other thing, when we're doing these things ongoing, I know that they're gonna feel comfortable coming to talk to me about how they're feeling. And that's with any area of their lives. You know, they talk to me about sex, you know, very personal things. And, you know, I pride myself on the fact that they can come to me and talk to me about anything. Will I always like it? No, but that's something we have to deal with because it is reality.
Yeah, it's good to like build relationships with their children. I'm a teen, so. And Eesha has put in the chat, what are some things you do when you're stressed? And this is for the audience. Okay, so Sahani Agarwal said, I journal and just write things down, meditation, yoga, art. I like to read or listen to music or like take walks outside. It takes my mind off things. Yeah, they are great. Movies, praying, sleeping. Sleep, capitalized. Movies. All right. So, how do you deal with stress or like take care of yourself when you are stressed? Like instead of pushing it away or something. Like any tips that you have for us? And this is for like anyone to answer.
I put in the comments, I love the lake, water, any water. So I love to go and just, if I feel myself stressing, if I had a busy week, I will go and drive and park and just look at the water. And for some reason, it really, really calms me down. So if anyone wants to buy me a house by the lake, you guys could do that.
I like to exercise is huge for me. A lot of people think I do it very often, because I'm trying to look good. That's not the case. It really is for my mental health. It allows me to sleep better. It makes me feel better. It is a release. When we sweat, it's detox for us. But I always like to say there's 4 key components. I call them the trifecta plus a booster. You want to always be mindfully eating. Your nutrition is important. It's really important to eat as clean as you possibly can. Now, of course, we're going to have, our times where we want to eat the junk. I eat a chocolate muffin all the time. So we're going to want the junk, but nutrition, water, meditation is hugely important for me. And meditation can come in many different ways. You can do a guided meditation. I do a 5-minute meditation before I put my feet on the ground every morning. It just grounds me for my day. So the exercise, drinking your water, it's suggested that whatever your body weight is, if you drink half of that in ounces per day, you're getting the nutrition that you need. And sleep, that's the booster, sleep. People, we're so busy all the time and we're up late, late at night, up early in the morning, and we're not giving ourselves the time that it needs to heal. When we're sleeping, our bodies are rejuvenating and healing. So sleep is really, I know teenagers love to be up all night on your video games and Fortnite and yelling and screaming at the game and stuff like that, but you got to get your sleep. It's hugely important.
I agree with that. I have like this audiobook and it's called Why We Sleep, and it's apparently like really popular. So it like explains what your body does while you're asleep and how it helps you for the next day. And really, I agree with that. So Asta, Ria, Amin, do you have any tips for stress release?
I think sometimes, when I have a big to-do list and I can get a little stressed or anxious, like just looking at that list, because I know sometimes people say, write down a list before you go to sleep for the next day and it'll be all clear. And I do that, but sometimes the list is so large that you just get very stressed looking at it. So I think one thing my dad actually told me was to take everything just one task at a time and just focus on like what you're doing at that time. And so that's kind of what I like to do. But if I get still too anxious in a situation, I'll just take 2 to 3 deep breaths and try to like step back from the situation and figure out, is this like end all be all? This is not the end all be all. So just doing some like guided breathing or just taking a deep breath like really helps just ground me and help me relax a little bit.
I actually have a huge issue with distracting myself when I'm stressed or feeling a certain way or throwing myself into work. So if I have a huge to-do list, my first thing is let's get this finished, even when I'm not feeling the best. So I think my parents keep on telling me just leave it alone and you can go back to it later. And the best way I do that is to spend time with my family, because I feel like I feel the best when I'm around other people, especially during this time. So yeah.
Yeah, I was gonna also add talking to a good friend, you know, like having a good sounding board, someone who is wise, who can really listen to me and care about what I have to say. Sometimes I'm not really looking for a solution. I just want to vent, you know, and I don't want to be judged. I want to be silly. I want to be, you know, whatever comes out of my mouth. Yeah, I just need a good friend, you know, and sometimes that's really all I need.
You know, I have to say, my method is not as advanced as Ria's, where, or I mean, as Asta's, where I take things one at a time, or I go to a friend to vent. I do talk with friends, and I'm not like I'm complete opposite as Ria, where I'm a massive procrastinator, massive. I don't do the things I'm supposed to be doing. But before COVID, like I said, I did wrestling for 3 years. I did a whole lot of sports, a whole lot of extracurriculars like debate team, things like that. So I'd do those hard, but now COVID can't really do that. But what I've noticed is that I'm very, when I was a kid, I used to doodle a lot. I had ADHD and I still have it. And I used to doodle a lot on my work. But now I've sort of controlled that in a way where when I am feeling a little stressed or agitated or things like that, instead of me taking a breath, I would draw certain things that's making me sad or angry or things, and then draw another picture of something that makes me happy. So that's my way of working things. That's pretty simple. So.
That actually sounds really cool. I've never heard of that technique before, but we have a poll here now. How long do you spend each day doing the things you love? Okay, so we have 30 minutes and an hour, and then 2+ hours. I mean, it depends on like what you love to do. So. All right. So does anybody want to share what they like to do? Oh yeah, Eesha, like what are some of these things?
I need my me time. So my me time, I can be doing something constructive or just like scrolling on my phone. So it depends really how much time I have, but I need some time just doing my own thing, you know? What are the things? I don't know. It's just an uninterrupted, nobody talk to me time. I don't know. Maybe I'm too old, but this is how I function at the age that I'm at now.
All right. Anyone else? Do you have some favorite things? And the audience can like share what they like to do too. So like you can put it in the chat or unmute yourself. It's open to everyone.
I like to try to incorporate working out now. Since COVID, I've tried to incorporate a little bit more because I realized that, I was barely moving, during school. Like I would just go to school, basically sit down in all my classes, come home, sit down and study for the next few hours. I would barely move. And I think COVID really like put that into perspective for me. So I just try to at least incorporate like 30 minutes of movement into my day and just like put my phone away, focus on that. And then, another thing I love to do is take long, hot showers. That's something that always relaxes me. So, yep, that's a few things I love to do.
All right. And we have some messages in the chat. Sometimes I like to play with my kids. That's fun. Definitely working out and art, going on a drive, listen to music. Yeah, I listen to music a lot. It really like calms me down, so it's nice. And Asta, I heard you like mentioning virtual learning. So how do you think that affects your health since you're sitting down all the time, but what other aspects of like mental or physical health does it take?
Yeah, I think there's definitely some plus sides for virtual learning. Like we just got a puppy, so I can, cuddle with him during classes or, just, if I need to eat lunch during one of my classes, that's fine. I can eat a little later. But I think that sometimes it's just the biggest struggle for me is trying to stay motivated. And I've heard it with a lot of my friends as well. It's just once you're sitting in the same spot, like all day, some people will just sit in their bed all day, or anything like that. It's just really hard to figure out, like, why does this class matter to me anymore? Why should I keep studying for this class? Like, I'm at home, like, it's not going to change anything for me. I don't have to see that person, so I don't feel any sort of guilt if I don't do this assignment. So I think staying motivated is definitely the hardest part of virtual learning, but for kind of getting around that, I think mainly just, again, writing like to-do lists, or trying to figure out, why does this class matter? What do you want to achieve out of this class? Or what's your goal for this week? Setting smaller steps to achieve. And, some teachers record their classes. So sometimes, if you get a little overwhelmed during a class and you can't pay attention, it's okay. Like, you can go back, watch that recording, catch up a little bit. And I think that took me a bit to understand, but it's definitely something that I try to keep in mind now.
So Ria or Amin or anybody else like on virtual learning? I know, like, for me, my eyes hurt when I stare at the screen. So I recently got my glasses made and they're like blue light protected. So it just helps take that glare and really that strain off my eyes. Do you work or like go to school from your bed? Never, sometimes, always. I'm glad to see there's no always. All right.
I'm trying to debate whether I should share on this question. It's sort of embarrassing. So my room is actually pretty small, and I have my desk here, my bed there. And usually when it's the choice for, at least for me, right, it's the choice between the desk or the bed. Which one do I do? I usually choose the bed, obviously. But for virtual learning, it's from the beginning, right? I thought it was like, wow, this is a dream, right? I've been wishing for this for the past 10 years of my life. Until like you get 2 months in or 3 months in, or in this case, half the year. And you're like, wow, this is really hard, right? Because what am I doing? I'm staying inside this 8 by 10 foot room where I'm just going a few steps this way, a few steps that way, couple push-ups here, couple push-ups there, and then I'll go eat, and then I'm going back to sleep. That's my schedule, or I'm trying to change it. So things like that.
Yeah, I'm in a similar situation over here, but I feel like as long as you have my desk area, as long as it like looks clean and inviting, then I'll just stay there. And it's weird because you have to stay like cooped up in your room all the time between classes, and then you never leave, and then you go back and sleep. So there is something in the chat. I had to force myself to make a routine. Virtual school and staying at home all day sucks. So yeah, that feels like what everybody's thinking right now. So makes sense.
You guys never take your computers and go to the kitchen, go to the living room? I mean, I don't tell my students this, but sometimes, depending on what they're doing, I can be cooking. Don't tell them. But I mean, sometimes I got to do what I got to do. And I'm, mostly have to talk. So you guys don't really talk as much as teachers. Why don't you just, go around the house and every class period have a different spot every class period? I mean, I tell it to my kids, they don't listen, but maybe one of you guys would.
Yeah, actually, oh, go ahead. I mean, I try to go downstairs or try to create like a designated workspace for the day. The thing is, like, living in a generational household and, having like 7 people in the house, it's just sometimes there's a lot of like, my grandpa will come and ask me a question like while I'm in the class, and I'm like, I want to help you out, but I want to pay attention at the same time. So Sometimes that's a little bit of a struggle, but I do like working downstairs because the snacks are a little more accessible.
I think when we first started virtual learning, my dad was like, okay, we got to move your desk into your room. And I was like, no, we are not doing that. Because I know Amin and Sneha have shared their struggles with that. I think keeping your workspace out of where you sleep and where you enjoy yourself should be separate. And I think another issue is the lack of change or motivation, like Asta said, or something to look forward to. So what I like to do is, okay, on Saturday, I'm going to go on a walk or I'm going to accomplish this. So there's something I'm looking forward to or setting a goal for myself so I don't have the same thing every single day.
You know what helps me is that I think of, well, what happens if I don't have this blessing? Like, for instance, when we first started teaching, online, I was really upset. I mean, I teach chemistry and a lot of my classes are labs. I'm like, how in the world are they going to understand this? How am I going to make sure that the kids get this? And I was really upset about it. But then I thought, okay, wait a minute. Now, how is this a blessing? Well, first off, I can be in my second half is in pajamas, nobody knows. And then next example that I have is a blessing. There's no line for the bathroom. For real. These are legit problems that teachers have. Okay, I can take off my teacher hat, put on my mom hat in a second. I don't have to wake up that early. It's like they can't tell if I brush my teeth or not. I do, but these are these things that it's true though. These are these things that I didn't realize there were blessings, but I just never noticed, and then now they want teachers to go back to school, and I'm like, it's not bad, so that's how I tell myself, this is good. Yes, it's not as good as you wanted, but there's still good in it. That tells my brain, keep going. Smile. There's always something good in any situation. There's got to be a silver lining. So that's what I tell myself.
All right. So another question, a tiny bit related to this, but how do you tell if your young child about mental health to start a conversation with them? Or how do you make your child feel comfortable enough to talk to you about mental health? Since teens, children, they're kind of standoffish. They don't really want to share their emotions much. So
I think for me, because I have two children, I have one that's 18 and one that's 21, and we talk a lot. I ask a lot. You guys probably know I ask a lot of questions. So as soon as they come in the house, I'm like, how was your day? And I don't take fine. I'm like, so what did you do? What, I'm very particular. I ask a lot of questions, as Amin is saying. Yes, I do. I ask a lot of questions. So I think because I do that just naturally, I guess, when I notice that the answers are different, I'm able to understand that something is up. And by doing that, and I said it earlier, because I realized that I am not the professional, if one that I have done is allowed my kids to have people that they can go to outside of me if they can't speak to me for whatever reason. So they have family members that they can go to, that they can talk to. So anytime that I see that they're not, answer my questions as they normally do, I call that person and say, hey, why don't you give my son or my daughter a call and just see how they just check in on them. Because I know that everything they want to tell me as a mom.
I think for me, it's important as parents that we are also a bit transparent about how we're feeling. As parents, we have to model for our children what we would like them to also be displaying. So if I'm modeling that, I'm talking to them about my feelings, about my day, how something that maybe someone said affected me, then the likelihood is they're going to do the same with me. They're going to talk about their feelings and not be ashamed of it, because feelings are natural. I tell people all the time, you know, it's okay to be angry. It's okay to be sad. It's okay to be stressed or have feel anxious or whatever. It's how we handle it that makes the difference. So all of their feelings and emotions are valid, and they need to be talked about, but you know, I can't expect that from them if I can't give that to them as well. Now, of course, you know, as a parent, we don't tell our children everything, but I can, you know, share with them, you know, what's appropriate for them to know.
I think one thing for me was when my children was young, because like I said, I have such of an age gap between like my 12-year-old and my 20-year-old. But one thing that I did do when my children were young, is that I would play with them, right? Like we would have times where if I knew they were stressed, and I would say, okay, let's just go play a game of Uno. And then all of a sudden, everything would just come out during that game of Uno. I didn't even have to really do a lot. I just had to kind of engage them in a game of Uno, or I did have to learn how to play Madden. I have 4 boys, and I would say, you know, let's come on, let me beat you real quick. And you know, they're so competitive. Oh, you're gonna beat me? I'm like, yeah. We sit on there and we play video games, and all of a sudden they're telling me about, you know, how they were anxious about a test that came up, and I had no idea. But just being there and doing another activity with them really allowed them to kind of relax and kind of like let their guard down and be able to kind of share different things. So I would say if your kids are, you know, really young, what worked for me is like playing with them, finding what their interests are, and, you know, playing with them, or, you know, coloring. You know, if it's a girl, I don't have any girls, really sad, tears coming down my face. I have 4 boys. So, you know, for like girls, you know, maybe doing their hair or coloring with them, or, you know, Barbie dolls, you know, that kind of thing. And just, you know, playing with them. And you would be surprised that the conversations that just organically happen, where you don't have to like pull and pry and, you know, feel like this is like pulling teeth.
I can like completely relate to that. My family, so my sister went to college and now it's just my mom and my dad. So every now and then we have Uno game nights where we just like round up and like talk about what happened during the day, and really, it's really fun. It just like de-stresses all of us. So I like that. And so does anybody have any personal experiences with anxiety or stress that they'd like to share?
I'll share. And also, I just wanted to say, I do need to log off at 7:30. I had a prior obligation, so thank you for having me. I'll say that ahead of time. But my story with anxiety is quite significant, which led me to trauma-focused therapy. Last year, January 6th of 2020, I was driving on the highway. It was nighttime, and someone came speeding from behind, and they hit my car, and my car actually flipped across the highway like 4 times, and it landed on its roof. So I was able to get out. That was an ordeal. Someone had to break the window so I could crawl out, and the person drove away. So I don't even know who hit me to this day. However, I was not physically harmed significantly. The emotional and mental impact that it took drove me to PTSD and anxiety. So I've had to learn to manage that every single day. And one of the biggest things with anxiety is, number one, knowing your body and knowing how you're feeling, being in tune with yourself, how you're feeling, and knowing that you have what I call like an arsenal. Build an arsenal of coping skills that can help you, that you can pull from at any time. Even if you're in class, if you're in the middle of class, you can do breathing with yourself where no one even has to know. You know, that's the most fundamental thing that will help immediately because your breath is always available to you. So learning to breathe and calm yourself, self-soothe, and just creating really good, healthy routines for yourself help along the way. But, you know, anxiety is very real. You know, if you happen to know someone who's been through, you know, some difficult situations, and it doesn't have to be a big accident like mine, or, you know, people who have been, you know, off to war or have been abducted. It doesn't have to be a big event. What they know is that our brains react to trauma, traumatic incidents, you know, just the same as they would if someone, let's say, is being bullied or picked on, or their family isn't talking to them, you know, quite nice all the time. It has the same impact on us emotionally. So we always have to make sure that we're staying in tune with not only ourselves, but with others. You know, if you know, and this is for the students, if you know a classmate, you know, who is having a difficult time, who's having, you know, conflict with others or family conflict or anything like that, be checking in with them and reminding them of things that they can do to make them feel better, because you live with that every day. And even at night, you know, when if they're sleeping, they could be having dreams about things. So it is a constant struggle, but if we stay in front of it by doing the things that we know help us, that makes our battle that much easier.
It's not my personal story, it's my sister's. She had, she still has, um, a, a lot of anxiety. Anything new, shots, giving birth to her son, huge anxiety. So she realized over the years that she starts to get a little dizzy, and if she doesn't sit down, she's gonna faint. So she realizes that she has to sit down. She realized that she doesn't want to talk about it. Sometimes she's like, just talking about it can ignite it, can just make it flare up. She's like, I can't talk. It's gonna start right now. So okay, let's just change the subject. So she realized that as well. And listening to a lot of people who have been in experience and, you know, how they dealt with it. Well, obviously she's not the only person who had a kid, so she'd ask about other people. How was it? Are you okay? What did you do? And just learning from other people's experiences kind of built her little, like, protection, you know, so that now she's much better. If you'd see her now, you would not know that she would have horrible anxiety attacks when she was much younger. So and my son also has that too. He not as bad as my sister's, or at least I don't think so, but he gets an anxious really easily too. So I'm trying to help him on his journey as well.
Thank you both for sharing. So coming from like the student perspective, you know, when our company was part of the junior achievement program, and we decided to talk about, you know, suicide and mental health awareness, um, you know, actually a few of the team members had experiences in school where they, you know, saw another student physically harming themselves. And that's, you know, very difficult to hear, you know, as a student. I think in this county especially, it's very academically competitive, and it's one of the reasons that why we wanted to start this company. But, you know, it takes a while for students to realize that school isn't everything. You know, health is important. It's crucial. So I think, you know, feeling anxiety and stress before tests, or just, you know, not completing a homework assignment and things like that, it's again just really important to realize that this is not gonna affect everything in my life. um and again, those deep breathing exercises. And I think for me, just trying to spread this mission and spread awareness for mental health, and just try to educate myself about what goes into these different illnesses, or like suicide awareness, like how can we spread that more positively and more widely. I think that's also just helped me learn more about myself and get in tune with like what my emotions are. before, you know, major life events or before going into new situations and things like that. So it's definitely been a learning experience through this company, especially, and learning from teammates' experiences and hearing stories like yours. Like it's definitely just learning from other personal experiences of others, how to even help myself. So that's definitely been a big thing for me.
Us, I'm going to have to piggyback on what you said. Yes, guys, school is not the most important thing in the world. Yes, it's your job now to be a good student, but be a good student. You don't have to kill yourself over it. I'm going to share something. I was a horrible chemistry student. I had a really bad, I swear to God, Shelly, I swear to God, he was a horrible teacher. There were no encyclopedias. And now I was in high school in Egypt, okay? So no encyclopedias, no YouTube was invented, right? I'm the eldest, so I didn't even have an older sibling. I was going bonkers and I hated chemistry. And don't worry, that teacher is dead. Yep, I got rid of him. No, he just died. But anyways, I know how it was so hard, okay? And it's a crazy story as to how I became a chemistry teacher. I'll tell you that, guys, later. But I tell my students all the time, I know this is hard stuff, okay? I'm here to help you. And I break it down to them like really small pieces, and I put them all together. And I'm like, oh, okay, so that's how it came about. So yeah, don't stress yourself out. And there are so many other things that can help you. Try your best. I'm not saying be bums. Try your best to be a good student, but you have to look at yourself as a whole. A student is just part of you. You're still a sister. You're still a friend. You're still a daughter or a son. You're still a individual, you know? You're all of that, okay? And you have to take care of all of you in order for you to be a well-balanced human being, okay? So, and honestly, who cares if you get a C+ or a B+? Yeah, I know your parents care, but they're just trying to push you. But for real, take care of your mental health, because it's your mind that's going to lead you anywhere. You know, you really need to take care of it. And yes, so awesome. I'm so glad that you brought that up.
That's really good to hear from a teacher. I think that also reminded me of one of my teachers recently, like, you know, started incorporating like something called quote of the day, and he just like starts off the lesson with some sort of thought-provoking quote. Doesn't have to be something that, you know, he even agrees with, but it's just a thought that helps us step out of and it's my physics teacher of all things, so you know it really helps me like take a step back. But one of the things he even said was he looks at grades as not he told us to not look at our grades as something that is gonna you know, it's not like indicative of like who we are. It's just a way to check our progress and have we learned this concept fully? No, okay, that just means I need to work on it a little bit. So like not taking bad grades personally, but taking it as something, okay, this is a topic that I'm just going to focus a little bit more on, but nothing to take, you know, to me back to, you know, back to sleep or back home or anything like that.
So we've been talking a lot about like what we're going through in school and in life, like personally. So anxiety and stress, that's like also huge for us. But how would you like bring up the possibility of treatment within like your households?
I think for me, I have normalized it with my family. That has been a really big thing. Like I give different scenarios, even like when I was talking to Shelly and I was kind of explaining mental health. Like, you know, when you break your arm, you don't, you go see a doctor, right? And then they say, you know what, I think your arm is broken, but I cannot confirm it. I have to send you to the radiologist, right? Because they're going to take an x-ray so that I can confirm that, yes, your arm is broken. So I kind of think of mental health just like that. Like I tell my boys, you know, something seems a little off, you know, like you may be irritable or sad or sleeping or not eating. I'm not sure. I want to send you to a professional so that we can confirm, you know, like what's going on. And then what do they do when after you know, broke your arm, they give you a cast, right? It's the same concept. So it's like you go to mental health, you may see a psychiatrist for medication, or you may just need a therapist so that you can talk things out, or you may go see an art therapist. If you're into art, I really try to, my kids are so individual that I try not to do the same thing for each child because they are different. So like one child may do very great at talk therapy, where another child I might have to send to art therapy, right? Because it just, you know, they're different. But they can still get that same treatment. So it's really important to kind of just try to normalize with the teens about mental health and seeking outside professionals. And kind of make analogies. Like I don't have an x-ray machine at my house, right? So I got to take you to the radiologist. The same thing with mental health. You know, I have to take you to a therapist so that you can get diagnosed, or if there is a diagnosis, we can properly treat it.
Amina, does every one of your kids, like, are they open to that idea, or do you get resistance?
It depends on the child. Like I said, all four of them are so different. So I had a child that actually came to me and was like, you know, I really am struggling and I need to see a professional, right? Whereas I had another child where when COVID hit, and I started seeing a lot of the symptoms, like with isolation and irritability and not sleeping well, you know, schedules getting all off, then I had to kind of come to my child and say, you know, this is what I'm seeing, to kind of, you know, help them get there. So I think each child is different. You just got to kind of, you know, see where they are, and know how to approach each child.
Thank you.
You know, I'm actually one of those kids. I don't like considering myself a kid. As one of those teenagers who really, in the beginning, resisted treatment because when, like I said, I have ADHD. I'm with an IEP and everything. So, but when I was younger, in elementary school, even though I know that I know now that they were actually trying to do the best that they could. But I had a whole lot of people come and talk to me and take me out of the class, and I always felt really uncomfortable. So I always resisted the fact that, hey, I have a mental illness, should probably really take care of it. But because of people, I think that because of the way it was explained to me, right? It was always explained to me as a disability or a disadvantage of what I have. And I always thought, hey, no, I can do everything that this person can do and probably better. So how am I lesser than? So it was always that kind of argument. Sister Shelley knows this, and I'm a very fierce arguer. And so I think if anything, looking back at it now, if anything, I really wish that my condition was explained a different way, right? Because it shouldn't have been explained to me as you have a disadvantage in life.
Can I just piggyback on that? And I do have to leave after this. Thank you, everyone, for having me. I wish I could stay longer. This is a refreshing discussion. I just want to say we have to take the stigma away from mental health treatment. We have to have these open, raw discussions because they're important. They're a part of who we are. Our emotions are a part of who we are. You know, I often have, you know, resistant, especially teenagers, when they're resistant and their parents sign them up to come and see me, and, you know, they're looking all grumpy in my office and things. And, you know, once we get to it, they really feel like embarrassed. If I'm here, that means I'm crazy. And I have to tell them, you know, in the book that we use to diagnose people, The word crazy is not even in there. So that's a societal type of word that they attach to mental health treatment. Mental health treatment is no different than when you go to treatment for your doctor. It's dealing with your emotions. It's just as important, because what affects our mind affects our body, and vice versa. There is a mind-body connection. So just as much as we take care of our physical health, we have to take care of our mental health, and we have to be okay with doing it. Now, if you're seeing a therapist, and for whatever reason, that doesn't mean that you have to go out and just, announce it to the world. That's still your business. There is still privacy there for you. But please don't think that because you're seeing someone that you're defective. We're not broken. None of us are broken or defective. It just means that we need support in a certain area, nothing more. So thank you all for having me. I really appreciate it. I'm sorry that I have to leave. You guys are great. It's just so inspiring to see so many young people doing such wonderful trailblazing things, and please keep it up. And I'm honored that you guys asked me to be here. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.
Thank you for helping us out.
No problem. Bye-bye.
All right. Bye.
Guys, I hate to do this as well, but I'm gonna have to go. I'm so sorry. If anybody needs to contact me for any reason, if you need any help in chemistry or whatever, but even if not, let Shelly know, and I'll be more than happy. I talked all day. I'll be more than happy to help you. All right, in anything, in any way I possibly can. Okay. Thank you guys, and yeah, I don't have any fancy words like Tamika did, but I'm honored. Thank you so much. All right, guys, have a great night. Bye.
You too. Okay, so we're talking a lot about treatment and therapy, and how often do you think we should go get checkups for our mental health, like physical health, or how do you go about doing that?
I feel like I don't know from like a professional standpoint, but I think there should be like a daily mental health check-in with yourself. I just feel like that's like super important because sometimes it's hard to stay in touch with your feelings. I know like I've seen videos of people journaling or different things like that, but I think COVID helped me achieve what my 2020 resolution was to try to get more in touch with myself. So, I mean, I don't know if I would have achieved that if we didn't have COVID, but all that time at home let me reflect a lot. And I think it is really important to do like daily self checkups on yourself, and like how did the day go? What happened in the day to change your emotions a certain way? And if you're exceptionally like upset for something, analyze like what led to that, what's that trigger for you. And I think that's something that is really helpful.
Yeah, sometimes I journal my thoughts at the end of the day. I try to sort out what happened, how am I feeling. So I think it's really useful to actually write everything down. So instead of keeping your emotions bottled up, you have somewhere to release them. And audience members, any other people have any viewpoints on how you should treat your mental health day to day? All right, so this is another thing that kind of relates to this. So how much time do you spend on self-care, me time?
I think I'm going to echo Asta in regards to COVID. I think prior to COVID, I used to just keep going. And I think COVID really slowed me down. And I've lived in my neighborhood for over 10 years. And not until COVID did I realize that we have a lake in this waterfall lake area, a walking trail, beautiful walking trail. So we found all sorts of areas just walking distance from my house. And I love, it's so relaxing. And I think that's a part of self-care. So I think if not for COVID, it would not have slowed me down and allowed me to do, like, I started baking stuff. I haven't baked in like forever. I baked like banana bread and all these things. I'm like, what? So now it's forced me, now that things are picking up again, because I had that time to myself, it's almost like I know I need to slow down to then go back to those things. Like, let me go take a walk or bake something or something like that, because I know I remember what it was like to be calm and to do things for myself.
You know, going off of that, with how COVID gave us like certain opportunities, right? I did the whole baking thing too. I did the sour bread and I did the banana bread. It was crazy. I was making like at one point I did 10 banana breads in one day that I just shipped out to all my neighbors. So got to that point. But I also had an opportunity. I've been living in this room my entire life, like since I was a baby. And it was always the same baby blue color. I hated it. I hated it. This, like in the past month, I renovated my entire room. I was super happy, right? That was a whole stress reliever. Now, that's not an opportunity that everyone has, right? I mean, it took a lot of time. It took a lot of effort. I mean, IKEA beds, don't do them. But things like that. It was me making goals, right? It was a goal that I said, I went to my parents' room. I said, hey, because of coronavirus, this winter break, we're going to start my room. And for anyone who knows my mom, like Sister Shelly, you know my mom, she said yes. I didn't know how, but this time she said yes. So things like that. If you're able to make something that you're willing to put time in, put effort in, and then you see the result of that, you're proud of that. That's something that, and on the note of how you should, for like when you should look for treatment, you should always look and reflect on yourself daily. But if you can and you have the time and you have the opportunity, try to look for other people, because having other people's insight and knowledge into not to solve your problem, but to sort of share the burden, right? I talked with my best friend, like at one point we talked, I know this is, don't do this, but we talked until like 3 a.m. About things that like we didn't, like we're best friends and we didn't know about each other. And things like that. So deep conversations, that's something that helps. So that's my therapy.
Yeah, it takes like the edge off things when you talk to your friends about it. And like when you necessarily don't feel like talking to your parents or your family members, it really helps. And I
A little
also
tangent from the point. Sorry.
It's okay. Oh wait, you're muted. Did you want to say something? Oh, okay, all right. So as for mental health, oh, okay. Does anybody have anything else to share? Okay, so how has your view on mental health changed throughout your life, and how is it different from your parents or other generations?
I think we didn't, I mean, prior to Stickers Speak, I don't think mental health was a word in our house. For sure, my mom, I do get the asking questions from my mom. So understanding that's what she was doing. She was always checking in on us, my siblings and I. So she constantly made sure that we talk to her and share. So I think that's something that I carried on in my family. I think though, without saying it, like to see a professional is something that we probably growing up would frown on, because even when I speak to like my siblings, like maybe I can have like one of my children go see someone, they would say, no, 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 I think you can just talk to them. So I think, you know, without saying it, our families are not comfortable. So just making it, just making mental health a conversation that we have is something that I think my children will do versus something that my mom did for my siblings and I, because right now I think I feel as though I've normalized it, and especially by being the mentor of Stickers Speak and understanding it more, and is totally, I think, in our family normalized. It's not a big deal anymore. But prior to Stickers Speak, I definitely would say I was I did what my parents did, which was we didn't talk about it. We just talked things through, and we felt as though we could fix everything. Like my parents could fix it, and then I thought that I could fix it. But now I know that that's not the case.
I know, Shelly, you said as a mom, you're a big question asker. And my mom is exactly the same. Actually, both my parents are very similar. So before I used to like question, why do they keep on talking to me when I'm coming home from school? I want to be left alone. And I wouldn't like talk to them very openly. I'd be like, no, you know, I'm just tired. I have a lot of homework. But now I know why they ask me so many questions. And I kind of understand their struggle. I know we're difficult to take care of. So now I try to be more open with them. I'll say, yes, I'm feeling a certain way. I don't want to share it with you, but it's not you, it's me. I know sometimes when we used to go to the doctor for our yearly checkup, they have like a questionnaire like, how are you feeling? And I know every single teen, no one's going to tell the truth. Oh, yeah, I'm feeling this way or that. So I think that's another thing as teens we need to work on is like being more honest. I feel like no one's trying to hurt you. They're all just trying to help you. So
Yeah, picking back off of that, I feel like I don't know, I think growing up has definitely, I've just had different like points with mental health, and stickers, like I haven't lived that long, but Stickers Speak was definitely the most transformative part of that. I think just I don't even know if it's developed in my family, but I just even feel like watching movies and things, whenever therapy was mentioned, it was like for someone that was like, you know, there was such a negative thing about it. And so that along with just not talking like specifically about mental health in the house, um, and I don't know, I think I always thought mental health was really surface level. So it's just the emotions that someone's wearing like on their sleeve. And even doing Stickers Speak, I think I was always I had a huge workload like junior year, inside of school, outside of school. And I was always tired. I remember going to the doctor, and me and my mom were like concerned. We were like, why am I like always needing a nap? Like, why am I always sleepy? It's insane. I got enough sleep, you know, like I was getting a good amount of sleep for a junior in high school. And
Okay.
sorry, what happens, Neha? Am I cutting out a little? Okay, I'll keep going. So anyways, I think I even went to the doctor.
A little bit.
Sorry. Okay, I think Sneha, maybe it's your connection if you want to try rejoining. But
I think so. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's going a little slow, Sneha. Yeah, so it really I went to the doctor, and this was during Stickers Speak, so I think I was helping preach for mental health, and I didn't even take that time for myself to reflect on my own mental health. And the doctor, even that day, I think she skipped the mental health questionnaire. Like she asked me, she started asking, and then she was like, you seem like a happy kid, you know, it's fine. And I was like, okay, you know, that's fine, I guess. And after COVID, I really took a step back, realized, was able to reflect on, okay, that tiredness was not because of my sleep or anything. It was because I just had overloaded myself, that even my weekends, like I did not get a chance to sleep in. I was just constantly like going somewhere, doing something. And so COVID, I think, was really one of the best ways, along with like putting that knowledge together along with what I've learned from Stickers Speak, that gave me like the best way to really understand my mental health.
I just wanted to share, like when we were talking about like generational, and I definitely can tell that there is a difference between my generation and my children's generation, and then say like, for instance, my parents' generation around mental health. For instance, like now there's shows that my teens are watching where you can see a teen go to therapy. It's part of the plot, or it's part of the series, or you may see teens talking about taking medication, for a certain diagnosis. It's on TV now. They're making it a part of, what you see. And I think that's a part of like normalizing it. One of my favorite shows is All American. And when one of the characters was going through, her mental health challenge, and I mean, they showed like the resistance and, her parents being there for her, and her friends really just like reaching out to her saying, I think you might need professional help. So it's becoming very normal. Like when I was a teenager, I cannot remember a show that I was watching on TV where they even mentioned a therapist, right? Or even like, I didn't even know what that was as a teenager. And then if you go back as far as my parents' generation, and then I think too, a lot of culture has to do with that generation. It was like a taboo thing, like, oh, you're crazy, or they're going to lock you up, or, or either it was like, oh, that's just the crazy aunt or the crazy uncle, or either they would say, you know what, just pray about it, and it'll go away. So I think a culture has a lot to do with it when you talk about generations, and just how now they're making it more normalized, for my teens.
I don't know. I think, go ahead. I mean,
I'm gonna wait for Sneha, so I'll continue. I have noticed the change. So for example, my community, right? It's the Arab and Muslim. We're very conservative about our feelings and mental health. And yeah, it's an extremely taboo subject to talk about your own mental health. But I have noticed like there's certain, so for example, there's these prayer classes, right? For example, there's Bible study, we have Quran study, and where people like the scholars or whoever's teaching us would actually go in and then read us a certain verse where it's saying something that is pertaining to mental health. So now it's become a little more mainstream because of what's on the media, what's on the movie, what's in movies, and what people are seeing around their community. Like I was watching a documentary about how it's become this mainstream in movies and things like that. And it's something that's hopefully like when I'm old enough to see like these drastic changes, right? Between like when I was 10 years old from when I'm 17 years old, the change of how we see mental health is huge. And probably when I'm 27, right, it's also going to be like it's just going to be a completely normal conversation with other people.
I think just to add, I don't know, for me, just you all having this conversation, I've learned a lot. So I think just keeping, I think as long as we continue to have conversations and share with each other, we will definitely make a change. To your point in regards, what I thought was very, something that you said, Amin, that was, I don't know if Amina felt this, but when you talked about having to be taken out of the class, and I remember actually you talking to me about that so many years ago, but not until you just said it, and how you said it is something that I think we as parents need to advocate for our students in regards to how that might make that student feel. You know, like how you articulated yourself in saying that. I can imagine how many other students feel exactly what you just said. If you're taking them out, like you're not broken, you're not, you know, like how you just articulated that. So, you know, just continue all what you guys are doing, because you are definitely normalizing mental health. And even for me sitting here listening to you all, we have to have more of these conversations.
Right. I think communication is like the key with mental health. Like you have to know what you're feeling and then express it to other people. And really the way, like Amin said, you really don't want to feel like you're inferior to anybody else. So I think just normalizing mental health, taking away the stigma, that would be the best way to do this, and for like future generations as well. And we have one blurb in the chat. As I went through high school and learned more about my own mental health, I feel like I'm a lot more comfortable about having a conversation about it. So I feel like I've done the same too through Stickers Speak, because like I didn't really know about mental health before now, but now that like you can like teach other people too, so they learn more about themselves. And I think that would be all for today, unless anybody has something else to add. But this was really productive. It was a great discussion. So thank you.
Thank you everyone so much for joining. Thank you, Amina. Thank you, Shelly. I actually learned a lot about everyone in this conversation. I learned more about Amin than I've heard in the past. I think it's been like maybe a year or so of knowing him. So it's really awesome that everyone joined this conversation. We'll also be posting a recording on our social media pages, so be sure to follow that. And thank you so much, Sneha, for moderating and keeping the questions going and the conversation going. You did an awesome job.
Thanks.
Yes, thank you so much for coming and listening to our stories of, and actually taking care, right? That's sort of the first step to starting a conversation. So hopefully you guys can have the confidence to actually start an educated conversation either in your families or with your friends, because that's pretty important.
I know I was very inspired by listening to everyone's stories and thoughts. Yes, I mean yours too. So I hope you all learned something too. And thank you for coming.
This was,
Bye, everyone. Oh, go ahead, Shelly.
no, this was awesome. Thank you guys for having us.
Bye, everyone. Thank you.